Ahmed actually did make an appearance on
that
today's
right?
spot. That's what
How was that? How did that happen?
I'm actually very, very curious.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That's funny. He's on the milk carton.
Oh, that is dynamite.
Oh, yes. And the reward here. We found this guy. He's not missing after all.
I'm back.
He's just Bobby Big Time, traveling America, Kentucky Derby, Atlanta Braves baseball.
Oh, my gosh.
You look good.
Thank
I
you.
watched you more this year than ever before.
You did?
I did.
Oh, good.
So that's the benefit as far as the Kentucky Derby when you have a daughter who's obsessed with horses and
that's
everything.
perfect.
Right? I was
Yep.
even texting Matt Casey at one point because you came on at 12. She watched you through and through.
Oh, perfect.
Took a little break around 4:30. She did a quick workout and then
Okay.
came back, right? And you were kind of on and off at that point. So I
Yep.
was like, it's okay. Our buddy's gone.
Yeah, it's
because she
this
was
is
like,
guy Mike Tirico hosting now. You can take a
well,
break.
she was legitimately surprised when you came on air.
Oh, really?
She really was. She was like, you didn't tell me your buddy was doing this? And I was like, I didn't know you really cared. And I was like, yeah, Ahmed's there. So that was really cool. I did give you I scouted you out a few times.
Okay.
Your armpits look pretty good.
Not bad, right?
I mean, I didn't get a lot of shots of being able to see. I was
learned.
hoping on the track when you were on the track.
Yes.
And like an hour before or
Yeah.
40 minutes before, and you were, they're going to finish right here and doing all that crap. And then I was hoping I could see some pit stains there. But I didn't see anything.
I go to my wife. I go, was I too into that one? I was super excited.
I want
on
you to
the
draw
track.
a line and be like, here it is.
I know. I almost did. The funny thing about that is we were on the track. It was like an hour before they're running the Derby.
Yeah.
And we wanted to show where they all finish. And each and
Right.
every Kentucky Derby winner is finished right here. I
Yeah.
can remember it word for word still. But the tractors wanted to go and clean up the track. And so an official from the Churchill Downs came up to us and was like, when are you doing this
Yeah.
hit? I was like, I think it's like in a minute or two. Is that going to be okay? I don't want to screw up the Kentucky Derby. And they're like,
Seriously.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Make sure you get out of here fast
Yeah,
after you're
hurry.
done with it.
You got out of there fast, too. I
did.
peeped that, too.
Yes.
Because I caught you in the background after you threw it to
Rebecca Lowe.
Rebecca Lowe. I saw you running off the track in the background.
was
I'm
fun.
always looking for that stuff.
Oh,
and
those
like,
tractors might get me. Yeah.
yeah, right. So
It-
wait, tell me about the surface.
Yes.
Like how much does your feet sink into that dirt?
It goes pretty far.
Right?
I mean,
It's
it's
softer
almost,
than you think,
It is.
right?
I mean, there's a lot of water. There's a lot of moisture. They
Right.
water it as the day goes on. And sometimes they'll like crunch it down,
Yeah.
which they call sealing it. You know,
Right.
it makes it a harder surface.
Gotcha.
If it rains, I'll try to seal it to get some of that excess water out of there. But it's pretty sandy. Like
Yeah.
it's legit beach type feel.
Good. All right. Well, it's good. We got to keep it safe for the horses. It was a great race. I enjoyed it. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Glad to have you back. I hope you got to rest up on Monday a little bit. We brought in the reliever.
Connor was great,
Right.
as always.
He's shorter, but he has more muscles than you. So
100%.
it's all right.
He can bench more than me. I guarantee
He doesn't wear
that.
red pants.
No,
Right?
but although I don't feel like that would be out of the realm of possibility.
No,
for
you're
Connor.
right. I mean,
Yeah.
he is cool, hipster, kind of cool guy, so he might do
Yeah.
that at some point. But what's up? I didn't even say hi to everybody. Chris Simms Unbuttoned. It's episode 500 today. That is right. We are a big deal now. It's official. And yep, my buddy's back here, but we got things coming up. We're going to have a good day today. We're going to be loose, relaxed. We're going to have fun, kick it around with a bunch of different subjects.
When are we
do
not
got the
loose and
schedule.
relaxed?
Really, you're right. We're always loose and relaxed. I guess we have nothing that we're like totally focusing
That's
on
true.
today.
That's true.
Because we got plenty of that coming on next week with the Chris Simms Top 40 Cornerback Countdown.
Yep. So we're gonna preview that a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
some
give a little
thoughts into that.
structure here.
Sure.
It's not just willy-nilly.
Okay,
Pete just
good.
didn't walk in here and go,
Rein me in.
You guys just talk whatever you want to talk about. We got the top 40 quarterback countdown preview. We'll kind of look back at last year and then kind of what thoughts are percolating in your head here.
Yeah.
We've got some trivia.
Right.
Some 500 trivia.
Right.
So episode 500 to celebrate that. And then a little Ask Me Anything here too. I want to start it off because I didn't know it was episode 500 until yesterday.
Yeah.
And so, you know me, I like to write some poems to signify some events.
Right.
At Unbuttoned, we have a knack for destroying groupthink that's whack. No narrative to be spun outside of just one. The greatness of our boy Zach. That's the only one. That's it. That's the only one. I think that sums up our podcast here. And Pete wanted to know what the homies think that we will be talking about 500 episodes from now.
500 episodes from now, which is roughly, what, 4 years
4
from
years.
now?
Like, we've been
basically,
doing
is
this
what
for
we did?
4 years,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy.
It is
right?
crazy.
It's been me. It's been Paul. It's been Connor, too. I think Liam was here for a couple. All the circus of hosts that you've had.
Yes.
So Distinct Alerts says 500 episodes from now, we will be talking about Geritol and Icy Hot.
No doubt about that. I'm going to need some of that. Something similar to that.
What's the Geritol for? What is that for?
Geritol is like what? Like something that I don't. You know what it is? In fact, now that you say Geritol, I'm not even sure. Is it like a?
Pete, what is that?
It's
What's
something
Geritol?
that heats. I think it's something that heats you.
Oh, it's a vitamin supplement.
Okay, that's what Geritol. You know, that's one of those phrases you throw around every now and then that actually I don't think I ever really knew what that part of it was. Right. I just thought it was something medicine-y.
So
that's what I thought.
So Distinct Alerts, here's the bad news. I already have some vitamin supplements, and I do use Icy Hot from time to time.
Do you really?
You don't need to wait
you put
500
on the
episodes.
Icy Hot every
my
now and
gosh.
then?
When I had that lower back pain. Remember that 3 weeks ago?
Sure. It went away. You're good?
So, yeah, we're there. It's gone.
Okay,
good. It's gone. Dave Saba says... ED, period, lower back pain.
ED. Oh, man. How dare you? I don't know. 4 years from now, I should still be going strong in the ED department. I'm sorry.
And Caleb Williams in his 4th Super Bowl. Maybe who knows, right?
All right. Well, I like those comments. Caleb Williams in his 4th Super Bowl. It's only 4 years from now, so he's going to have to get to work here real early on in his career.
Hit the ground running.
All right, maybe 5 years. He's got lower back pain. I think will definitely be a part of this podcast. I am susceptible to it. And if I do work out too hard or have something in my life change too drastically, like being on a plane forever or getting delayed while you're on the plane, like the lower back thing. Now, ED, come on, we're going to fight against that one.
There's drugs for that. Geritol. Just use a little Geritol, and that'll fix that.
A little Geritol. Rub a little Geritol down there. Don't rub the Icy Hot down there, okay? That could be a problem.
West Kruger says we'll be talking about the Manning kid.
Oh, we could be.
Will we, though? I don't know. I think there's some debate on how good he's going to really be.
Well, let's say, I mean, I know his spring game was, nothing to write home about. He's young. He's learning. It's hard. At Texas, right? And then, there's a good chance we could be talking about him for years, but it sounds like Quinn Ewers has got the lead as far as the quarterback competition. I'd be interested to see how that goes because Ewers has talent. We know that. So I'm excited to see what the Manning kid does as the year goes here.
Hudson Riverview, probably your dad's induction into the Hall of Fame.
Wow, I wish, but I don't know if that's going to happen either. I don't know.
What's holding him back? Why
I just think as more time goes on, his numbers and things like that look less and less, impressive.
You should compare it to
only
the era,
won
though.
one Super Bowl. You're right. Well, in the era, I mean, the era, his stats are better than Troy Aikman's and better than Joe Namath's and Kurt Warner. They're right there on par with that as well. Right, he's only got the one Super Bowl. I think if he's healthy for the second one and plays in that one, he's probably going to get in. But the other part of this, too, is for people like my dad in that position, politicking has a real part of the process. You have to be like, you're going to have to call, and you're going to have to get a groundswell going behind you. And you're going to have to, for somebody like him, he's going to have to get somebody at the Daily News and the New York Post and everybody to start pushing this message along. And that just ain't happening with Big Phil. You know that. There's no way he'll do that. There's just no way. So it's like it's where I feel guilty a little at times because I have people who tell me I should do it, right? Now he will tell me not to do it if I start to go down that road too much, right?
Yeah.
And but so that's kind of the thing I get every now and then, and I do wonder sometimes if I should be the guy to push him.
You think, no doubt, looking at his numbers, his accomplishments, he should be in the Hall of
No,
Fame?
I don't think no doubt. I think he's very much. No, I think it's very. I mean, listen, in my own personal bias, yes, I think my dad's better than people realize. I think my dad's like I say to people all the time. I think my dad's one of the most misunderstood people, really, in football history. People think he's this nerd that was on TV with Jim Nantz, and I went, if you were around my dad or listen to our podcast,
he's not that nerdy.
He's not that nerd. You can't shut him up. He's hilarious. He says a ton of four-letter words. He's really the opposite of what you saw all those years.
But that alone can't get someone into the Hall of Fame.
No, it can. No, it cannot. And then, his playing days, because it's the Giants' defense and Bill Parcells, people think my dad was a game manager. And that's where I go, see, you don't know that you didn't pay attention. He threw for 4,000 yards in 1984 when nobody was throwing for 4,000 yards, really. It was a rare thing, right? They were not. He led the league, or he was second in the league 4 or 5 years in a row for average yards per attempt, right? Because they were not managing the game. I mean, if you watch old games of my dad in the 88, 86, 87, every throw was 20 yards down the field. I mean, it's never a management, here's a slant or a screen or anything like that. So that's where I think he's misunderstood. But no, I don't think he's going to get in the Hall of Fame. I don't
think he will?
No, I don't think he will.
So if you can't do it, your dad doesn't want you to do it. If he's not going to do it, it's got to be me. I've got to put it upon my shoulders.
Go ahead.
To do this. Get your dad into the Hall of Fame.
We'll give you that job.
That's my job. Now, we're going to save some of these other ones for a little later on, but I do want to throw this one out there from our friend Dur Beobachter. Who at one time we knew how to pronounce that name, and we've totally lost it. Why? Oh, he goes, what will we be talking about 500 episodes from now? Why you will be going to Germany for the games in Frankfurt and tape your first international episode of Unbuttoned. Germany will give you, Ahmed, and Pete some love.
Oh, man. I hope that happens before episode 1,000. That's what I'm hoping. I mean,
yes.
I would hope so. I want to be over there for one of these games. I mean, and of course, I know we're going to hit on the schedule and all that here in a minute. But, yeah, between that and London, I would love at some point for us to be able to go over there and do some shows.
You're too busy, and now they're making me too busy. I don't know that it can happen.
I don't know either.
Yeah,
they'd have to take some off our plate and then cut out some time for us to do that.
Right, I know. Well, speaking of the schedule,
yeah,
Dur, great job getting us to our next
transition,
point.
Dur, he's our man.
The schedule's not quite out yet.
No.
It's coming out Thursday.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this on Thursday, the schedule's out. Go check it out. But we're doing this on Wednesday, and this is what we know so far. We know the international games.
Yes.
Week 4, Falcons, Jaguars in London. Week 5, Jaguars, Bills in London. Week 6, Ravens, Titans in London. And then we got the 2 Germany games. Week 9, Dolphins, Chiefs in Germany. And then Week 10, Colts, Patriots in Germany. So some iconic franchises in Germany. You're welcome, Dur. But we get that Dolphins-Chiefs game that Tyreek Hill return to Arrowhead is going to be in Germany instead.
Well, my first big thought of this whole thing in these 5 games is that, star power, legit team. Or I feel like this was always kind of a I don't want to say a throwaway game, but it was just like, who are we going to pick this year that has to play over there, right? Because nobody's raising their hand. So who are we going to force go over there, right?
Jaguars.
Right, exactly, which we know they're a staple.
Which they're good now, though.
They are good. So they're excited about that. But I do think this to me, this schedule here, as far as the overseas, it shows a little bit of a push in star power and the teams that are legit right now. That's where I think I'm a little impressed and shows me that the NFL wants to, put some guys on a pedestal or make them the face of the league a little bit more and grow the interest there. And especially that game. Dolphins-Chiefs, one of the premier matchups the whole season.
Yeah.
I mean, more stars on the field maybe than just about any other game you could put together, right? And that's going to Germany. And, of course, it's the biggest star in our game in the prime of his career. Well, that, I think, shows you how much they want to make the Germany thing work. So that's what I was shocked by. That matchup, Lamar Jackson going against the Tennessee Titans and Derrick Henry and that group, and you get a Trevor Lawrence versus Josh Allen matchup. I know the Jaguars are part of that anyways, but they got 2 games this year. And to have the marquee quarterbacks in our sport going over there, and those are the crossover figures that I think a lot of people in Europe, buy into, at least. I think that's going to be big, and it seems like the NFL wants to make this Germany thing work.
Why? Why so much? Do you think eventually the long-term play is getting a team somewhere in Europe?
Definitely.
You really do?
Goodell mentioned it, I think, at the Super Bowl press conference, that was on their radar, and that they would, big-term goals or big long-term goals is to get a division over there.
Wow.
Florio always contends that this is definitely on their radar, and it's only a matter of time, and they just got to figure out these logistics. Florio today, too, was also saying he thinks the NFL has shifted a little bit. They think that there's more of a love in Germany, and he thinks that they think there's more potential in Germany jumping onto this NFL bandwagon, I think even quicker than London.
Ooh.
Right. I think they kind of learned that. And again, remember that Seahawks-Bucks game last year. They were rabid. The fans were crazy.
They didn't leave.
They didn't leave, right. I was laughing about that this morning, too. It was like 45 minutes after the game, and there were still like 60,000 people in the stands.
Yeah.
So, maybe they're on to something there, but they're going to get 2 awesome matchups. Colts-Patriots, Dolphins-Chiefs should be pretty good.
And there's some other notable games, too. So, Pete, were these released on Twitter? The league hasn't released anything yet. But
I don't know if they just snuck out throughout the morning.
Like Schefter's getting in there.
Right. Somebody's releasing them. I don't know. Does the NFL give these to Schefter just to start the interest and start the talk?
Maybe.
And get Or
the
or
teams do have them because
the teams have them, right?
Oh, that's right.
They're
teams
building
are all,
their videos
that's
and
right.
whatever else. So yeah, if Schefter, Florio, whatever, have an in with the head media guy or something like that, yeah, they might get thrown a bone here as far as, what's one. Give me one game that's, a marquee matchup.
I'll give you 3 right now.
Okay, do that.
That I've
Do
gotten,
it.
not from the teams,
No.
but from Pete putting it in a rundown. Week 12, Dolphins at Jets. It's the Black Friday Prime Video game
That's
on
awesome.
Amazon.
That's awesome. I'm excited for that. I'm always excited for less games on Sunday because then I don't have to watch, as many games at 1 o'clock and go, whoa, there's 9 games going on at once. But man, that Friday, that Black Friday, well, I don't ever want to do anything other than just sit on the couch anyways. I'm usually in a food hangover and a liquor hangover.
Right.
And I'm a little comatose. So now I got some football to watch. I'm excited about.
3 o'clock Eastern, so that's
Right.
cool. I know they
Perfect.
had to have it a little earlier because they have that. They don't want to conflict with Friday night football. I think it's a long-standing
It
thing
is
with the
exactly
NFL
right.
and-
Yeah, they can't infringe on high
Right.
school
Which I
football
like.
and
I
stuff
like
like that.
that.
Well, you and me, we're high school
Oh my
football
gosh.
watchers, so
I'll
we
be
don't
at
want that.
I'll be like, sorry, I can't, Aaron. I
Sorry,
can't watch you.
Sorry, Greenwich is playing New Canaan this weekend. We gotta go.
Also on Christmas Day, Giants at Eagles, and Pete is telling me the teams have released some of these, so it's not all just Schefter poking
Okay,
around.
I got you.
And then Week 17, Bengals at Chiefs. That is the New Year's Eve game on CBS. So where's our first big game? When are we starting to release our?
They haven't got it. I guess
NBC
Pete's got no
games?
connections at NBC, but you'll see it all tomorrow.
Tomorrow
Giants,
on
Eagles,
Today. Tomorrow on
Today. Oh, so it's on Thursday. They're getting to release our thing there. Wow.
Thursday morning we get to release our schedule on
Wow.
Today with Hoda Kotb, and not the whole schedule, just
one game. Okay.
Oh, the kickoff night. What's the
Yeah.
kick? Do we have any rumors? We probably can't.
Well, we know it's the Chiefs.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
and they're most likely at home unless there's some scheduling conflict.
Yeah.
And then from there, I don't know. It's not the Bengals, I could tell you that. Okay, they're
Okay.
playing on Christmas, but that's awesome. New Year's, watching some football there. Hey, the holidays are right around. Our football Sundays again this year, where Christmas and New Year's are on Mondays.
Yep.
So I'm interested to see how they kind of break up that schedule, not only for viewing pleasure, but for my own life and work schedule during that time, right?
Yeah.
But those are awesome. Giants, Eagles. I think we both expect. I mean, we know the Eagles are going to be awesome. The Giants. I'm not ready to say awesome. I just hope they're in the playoff conversation
mix.
still
I
at
think
that
they will
point,
be, yeah.
right? And then the Bengals and Chiefs that late in the year. I mean, that could be for the whole marbles. That could be for home field, number 1 seed.
Ooh,
Who
the
knows what
bye,
that could
imagine
be?
that,
Exactly, right. So that should be cool.
You don't have to work on Christmas, it doesn't look like, right? Because we don't have the Christmas game. That's a Monday night, and so it's an ESPN game.
I hope so. Now, they might make these Christmas. I think they're trying to make the Christmas Day a thing here.
But I don't think we have a game on Christmas. Do we, Pete? Can you
They don't
we
know.
don't.
No,
Oh,
this
we
is
might.
things we don't know. We
Oh.
might. They might make it a little different where there's only a few games on Christmas Eve, and then you have actually a pretty good slate on Christmas Day too. Right? So that's where I'm a little worried about that and how that plays out. But I'm more worried about Christmas Eve anyways, to me.
Yeah.
I like Christmas Eve. I want to be able to enjoy that night, right? And that's on a Sunday this year, and I worry about, what will we have that night during those activities?
This is what people say. This is what we do. There are sacrifices. Yes, we are watching sports and cheering and wearing my red pants, talking to Chris Simms. But there are certain sacrifices that also other people make too that are not in sports, and I realize that. All right, Simms Top 40 Quarterback Countdown Preview. This is time. I think we want to start with looking back at last year.
Yeah, cool.
And just seeing where all the chips were last year. You had Josh Allen as number 1. You had Patrick Mahomes as number 2. You had Justin Herbert as number 3. You had Joe Burrow as number 4. And I'm going to say, I'm going to look at this.
Say whatever
I'm going to say
want.
maybe the order has changed in the top 4.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say those. Anyone who watched football last year, I think those were the top 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. I don't think I actually, as you're sitting here saying that to me, right, outside of, the rabid Philadelphia Eagles fan base,
Yeah.
I would say that through and through, 100%, I never heard anything different from anybody, at least in the football world, that didn't think those 4 were the top 4, right?
Yeah.
You know, and like I always say, I always release these type of things, and when it comes out, I start to hear from people or whatever. So I heard from people at the time, but then, yeah, as the season goes on, I don't think anybody right now would disagree with what you just said there.
So let's set this up. We'll take another look at this as we go.
Yeah.
But let's set this up.
Yeah.
For those who may be new to the Simms Top 40 Quarterback Countdown,
Yep.
which started, 7 years ago now?
It started in, let's see, yeah, I guess it was the 2017 season, right? That is when I made the mistake of going on Dan Patrick and him asking me about the Jacksonville Jaguars and what's up with them, because they were all over the place.
Yeah.
If anybody remember, they had this amazing defense. They'd dominate a game, and then they'd lose a close one. You'd be like, how did they lose to that team? And that's where I went on and went, well, because they have the 70th best quarterback in football, Blake Bortles. And, you know, he was shocked. So that's where it manifested itself. And
so you were like, I will list all the quarterbacks who are better than Blake Bortles.
well, then it became a news. So I said that.
Yeah.
And it caught on, like, to where, like, people were like, I was getting calls and they were, hey, people, yeah, we just waiting. We don't know if we can have you on the radio. You know, we heard your comment about, you know, Blake Bortles and all that. We found that interesting. It became a thing. And then Lebitard and Stu Gatz, right, the great Dan Lebitard, he started to talk about it on his show. They kind of broke it as news. And then Stu Gatz, being the silly human that he is, went, oh, I wonder who the other 69 are in front of him. And my buddy Adam Lefkoe from Bleacher Report was like, dude, Lebitard and all them are all talking about your Blake Bortles for 70 thing. You need to come up with a list. And I was like, the last thing I wanted to do. Yeah. And I slowly but surely started to make a list, and it became a thing, right? But that was...
And Blake Bortles was probably 60.
Well, I always feel bad for Blake Bortles. Listen, I was making a point about that, and you know, listen, I'm not saying that I really didn't think Blake Bortles was kind of down towards that region, right? Mm-hmm. He was playing a style of football and everything there where I go, if you gave a lot of these other quarterbacks that were at 50 and 58 and whatever else the opportunities that Blake Bortles got in his career, you know, it wouldn't look that different. That's the point I was trying to make, right? And a few other points along with it. Mm-hmm. But it took on a life of its own. Yeah. And that's where I want to make a few tweaks on how I push this year, because this list was intended to rank the guys. Like that year, I was doing it during the season. I was going on every day in the end of December and January and giving a new guy. I did the final a few weeks after the Super Bowl. So it was kind of like, hey, here's the year, and here's how everybody stacks up on my list after watching the year. Yep. Now, I've gotten into a little of this the last 2 years of projecting a little bit more, right? And that's where I think, as from thinking about that, as I told you before the show, even going back and looking at some comments people make and stuff like that, that's to me where I think I get myself in trouble. It's where I leave myself open to be shit on by most of social media. And that's where I think I'm going to convey that message a little bit more this year, right? Some projection involved here.
Right.
But more about how it ended last year and, you know, where I think the player is right now at this second, right?
Yep.
Not trying to go, oh, well, I think this guy got with Sean Payton, and now he's going to look 10 spots better next year or whatever else, right? So, yeah, I think that's a little bit more of how I'm trying to view this.
So, to put it simply, this is the quarterbacks, if they're on just a average team, neutral play caller. You don't even know the play caller. You don't even know his teammates.
Right, exactly.
This is if we had a quarterback draft for 1 year and 1 year only.
Yeah.
This is not taking them for this year and you have them for the next 5 years. No, this is just you have a quarterback for 1 year, and then at the end of this year, we're going to redraft the quarterbacks again, so you don't even get to keep them.
Now, there's some context within that, too. That's where and see, this is where it's like, okay, so all right, just off of that, let me just throw an example out there.
Sure.
Right? There's some guys here that, okay, last year was a little bit of a down year, but there was like 8 years before that where you go, that was phenomenal. It's all pro. It's amazing level, right? And then we have a guy who jumped on the scene last year out of nowhere, you know, and had some good stats, and they won some games. that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to go, oh, he's better than that player right now at this moment.
Yeah.
Did he have a better year statistically and do some things better at this year or whatever, and were some injuries maybe involved with this player or whatever? But that does not mean you automatically get put above. There is a little bit of assessment of the body of work that you put in there too, right?
Well, exactly,
right.
And you would want that because you're taking a quarterback for this year only. You would have to gauge whether that last year for this one guy was going to be indicative of what he's going to do this year,
right.
or if you trust more the body of work of this other guy, even though it may be diminishing.
Yes,
for sure.
Exactly right. So that goes into this as well. But yeah, I think too, within the timing of we do it and we release it in June, I think too many people have run with, wait, this is how this is look this year coming up. And I want to go, yeah, I listen, I'm good at predicting some stuff, but I ain't Nostradamus, all right?
Yeah.
And I can't, tell you everybody's jump and what they're going to do. I can within reason, sure. But could I take the, jump of like, oh, yeah, I expect young guy who's going in from year 2 to year 3 to be a little bit better? Sure. But I'm not going to go like over the top with that type of thing and try to use some logic that way.
There have been a whole lot of quarterbacks changing teams, which is really
crap.
not going to be a part of this evaluation, but it will matter in how these quarterbacks produce and look,
Sure.
and how they looked last year maybe.
It's the hardest year ever, Ahmed. I've never had a harder time.
Why do you say that?
I think it's because there was up and down. There was 1 year hits last year. There was injuries involved. There's a pretty good lower class, or what I would say like a pretty good class of backup quarterbacks in football right now, where as I showed you before the show started, like I can usually go, okay, wait, here's the 32 starters. Here's the 10 or 12 guys that are basically in the running for the 8 spots left over, right?
Yep.
And this year, I go through my process really the same way, and I got done with that process and went, oh, shit, I got like 22 guys. I got like 50-something guys where I went, whoa, this many guys, and now I got to cut it down to 40, right? And that's where I found it to be harder than ever this year, let alone the middle class of the NFL starting quarterbacks is always hard.
So you think there are 15 or so quarterbacks that may be worthy of top 40 that you thought may be worthy of top 40, and then they just kept adding up and adding up.
Right, and you just I got a nitpick, and that's where I have to, I of course assess the situation. I put on some film on my computer sometimes and go, wait, this is close between this guy and that guy. Let me watch a game or 40 throws or whatever and just see what thoughts percolate in my brain that way. But, yeah, I definitely had a harder time with that part of this process this year.
Quarterbacks you may not have to consider.
Yeah.
Well, Tom Brady, for sure.
Right.
We don't have that dust up anymore. That's one thing you won't have to sweat every year.
I don't have to have Tom Brady at like 8 or 9 or 7, and everybody go, why is he not in the top 5?
Yeah, the first time in NFL history a 50-year-old quarterback has been in the top 10, and you're granting him that, and be like,
he's 45 last year, and I made him the 8th quarterback in football. People still were mad.
Matt Ryan doesn't look like he'll be in the NFL. Carson Wentz, we don't know. He was 19 last year. Well, so Matt Ryan was 14. Tom Brady was 8. I don't know about, especially Tom Brady and Ryan, but Carson Wentz, who knows where he's going to be?
Well, that's the other thing. That's what I mean. There's guys like him where you just go, where does it go? Talent-wise, he's one of the top 40 quarterbacks in football, but leadership-wise, what he is in the locker room, careless with the football, is he a top 40 guy there? I don't know. Those things play into this whole thing there, right? Is he the guy you'd really want to be your backup quarterback in most situations? I don't know if a lot of teams would want that. There's a reason he's still out there in the street. So, yeah, it's guys like him that make things hard here for me too.
Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater at 38, still without a team.
Exactly, right? Played a lot, we know that, but he's also, too, injury history, all this. So there's another curveball involved in this.
So I mentioned the guys who have changed teams.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, he was 5 last year for you, going to the Jets.
Right.
Obviously, Derek Carr, he was 11 last year, going to the Saints. Baker Mayfield, since you made the rankings, went from Cleveland to Carolina to the Rams, now with Tampa. Jimmy Garoppolo has gone to the Raiders. He was 20th last year for you. Marcus Mariota, I think another player that you were kind of hinting on here.
Exactly.
Tough to rank. He was in Atlanta and now with the Eagles as a backup. Sam Darnold over in San Francisco. He was 32 last year. And finally, Gardner Minshew, who was at 37 last year, now is in Indianapolis. Now, the changing of teams shouldn't affect the ranking for
No,
you that much,
no,
right? It really,
right.
it's team independent, these rankings.
Right.
The only thing I'll say is how it could affect the ranking for them is if these other teams ask them to do things that are different and they succeed in that, right? Like more evidence of, like, if we see, Baker Mayfield go to Tampa and he's playing, he's all of a sudden no risk it, no biscuit, and we're like, oh, wow, this is the best Baker Mayfield we have seen. He's able to display some of his talents. Well, that may show up in your ranking next year.
Yeah,
then,
exactly. See, that's where it gets tricky. See, and that's where I think it's also even kind of screwed me in some years, where I go, oh, this is a match made in heaven. This is going to work. So let me project this guy just a little higher.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't work out, and you look like an idiot, right? To where, that's where, that's where I'll have to describe, like, hey, there's some potential here for this guy to make a big jump for next year. But from where we stand right now at this moment, I cannot put him there. But I could see him making the jump. And those are things I think I need to clarify. But, yes, to your point, these are the things that they make it tough. They really do. You mentioned a few guys there where I just go, yeah, exactly. I don't know where to put them, how to gauge it, right? We have a crop of rookie quarterbacks where I like to put the guys at the top of the first round in the top 40, right? And I believe that's where they are too as far as their talent. There's that. There's the unproven Jordan Love, Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder, right? Where you'd like to go, wait, at least the 32 starters should be in the top 32, right? There's a part of me that sometimes thinks, well, who am I to say this guy is in the top 32 if one of the teams is ready to anoint him as one of the starting 32, right?
Yeah.
But yet you look at it and go, well, there's some guys at 33 or 40 that I can't put Desmond Ridder in front of that guy yet, right?
Sure.
So that's where it also gets, troubling. It messes with my mind. It messes with my football. Like, hey, I want to respect the Falcons, and they made him his starter, so let's make him one of the 32 best. But that's not the case here.
Doesn't mean he's going to be in your top 40 necessarily. We've seen that in the past.
We have seen that.
No,
You're
I think the big thing, like you mentioned, is that a player could improve, and then he goes up in your rankings next year. But I think it's also to point out the players that you think are in your rankings and you stand by your ranking, but their stats, their numbers are going to look better than your ranking because they are in a perfect situation and they have good weapons around them and they have a good play caller as their head coach or offensive coordinator. And so
you're talking about Tua, basically, right?
I'm getting ready for the Tua backlash.
There's that conversation though, but I think that's okay. But you're right. That's part.
It doesn't mean you're going to change your ranking next year because you still think the things that produced some of those numbers was some of Tua,
sure,
but also what was around.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're stripping what's around.
Exactly right. And thank you for phrasing it that way because I think that is. You're right. Sometimes, and that's where it also lends to the criticism and whatever else is people just look at numbers or wins and losses. And they go, well, that guy should be higher or whatever. And I want to go, wait, but you don't think if we put these other 15 guys I have in front of them that they wouldn't be just as good, right? I mean, we really, and again, I'm not trying to say anything about where Tua is ranked in all this and anything that way.
He's outside the top 40. We just want to throw that out there now.
But I think that's like, yes, it's part of this conversation. And like you said to start it off, we're all on a practice field. We're all running the same offense. And we all have the same coach.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I have to continue to talk to myself.
And it really takes nothing away from those quarterbacks like Tua for executing, right, in those situations, right? You still have to do it. You still have to get it done. Yes, maybe other quarterbacks could have similar results, but you still got to do it.
No,
and
there's
some
still a lot of merit to
yes,
do it. Exactly right. And he did it. And he did a lot of awesome things last year. And he certainly will be higher on the list. That's for sure.
6 quarterbacks on your top 40 signed big-time extensions in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
First, it was Kyler Murray in July, actually. Number 12, so that was right after your rankings came out.
Yep.
And then Russell Wilson in September, he was at 7. Geno Smith at 33, he got that in March. Daniel Jones got that big extension. He was at 21 last year for you. Jalen Hurts at 25 for you last year, got his big extension in April. And then just recently, Lamar Jackson, who was at 10 for you. The Ravens we don't want to let him go. He got that big-time extension. So let's bring up the top 40 again from last year.
Right.
A chance to get a victory lap in here.
Yeah.
Which ranking are you most proud of, or a couple of rankings are you most proud of?
Gosh, I don't know if I'm, I don't know if there's one that I'm like most proud of or anything. I
got one.
Yeah, what is it? Go ahead.
Even though you could make the argument he could have been higher.
Right.
Geno Smith at 33. I think when you made that ranking, I think most people would have said, like, that's ridiculously too high for a guy like Geno Smith.
Thank you very much. You're right. That's definitely one that I should be proud of. I think you're right within that. I'm always proud that I stand my ground with, like, the Kirk Cousins of the world, right? Kyler Murray at 12 last year. I remember feeling like, man, I'm going to feel a little dicey about putting him that low, but I think realistically, with how he played in the year, and of course he got injured and all that, it's where he should have been or whatever, right? So I guess, I think you're right. The Geno Smith one's probably the one I look at to go, that does make me feel good, because you're right. I did take a lot of crap for that.
And Jimmy Garoppolo at 20, you have basically, since they were in the Super Bowl, he has been in the same spot. Matt Casey was here, and he's like, just every year you just start with 20.
19,
like
20, 21, he's hit them all of those, all there.
But you've held steady depending if the team's great, not great, if he's performing, not performing, you've just held steady, and I think that speaks to the whole exercise. Well, that's the perfect example
of what you're talking about. Exactly right. Where I go, yeah, it's good, but let's just not look, the 49ers in the NFC Championship game, so he's got to be one of the 4 best guys. No. Again, I think there's a lot of quarterbacks that we put in San Francisco, and you'd go, oh, no, they're better. They're better than they were without Jimmy Garoppolo. So there's just that's where it is. And then, again, too, you got guys like Jalen Hurts and Daniel Jones, where I had questions about, right? In different ways, too.
Yeah.
Right? Where you get into Daniel Jones 21, where I saw talent, but I just said, man, they got to do something to help him out so we can all see the talent, right? To where we can all see it. And he has the ability with the support system around him to show us everything he has to offer. So they finally did that last year. So he's going to be significantly up. Of course he is. Jalen Hurts was another one where, like I said before, there's potential here, right? But I had to see it to believe it at first. Mm-hmm. I mean, again, think about where we were the year before. That's where it was annoying about that conversation. I know it was low, but literally we went into the playoffs with going, the biggest question about the team was the quarterback. Can he throw the ball?
Yeah.
But then people wanted me to make him a top 12 quarterback. And I just went, how? Yeah. How does that match up to what you're saying to me?
We were coming off their playoff loss
against
to Tampa,
the Bucs,
right? Where they just got blown out and they could do nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
And they changed their offense midway through the year from what they were doing and got into something that fits him better, right? But obviously he improved in a lot of areas, and he took that opportunity, and of course he's another guy that's going to jump way up there.
So we also self-scout thyself.
Of course.
And so you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what rankings do you regret the most? With the caveat that, when we make the predictions, we're making them in the moment, and of course things are going to change.
Yeah, no, I mean, I never would have saw the Matt Ryan fall.
Yes.
Right? That was a shocking one to me. Where
it was almost immediate, like week 1 or 2, you were calling him feeble already.
Right? I mean,
and I was like, Matt couldn't listen to the podcast. Careful.
It was like we were in some preseason. I think the Bills preseason game.
That's right.
And I was like, I don't know. I mean, I know they're still working on things, but I don't even like the way it looks. Right? A little bit like I said about Matt Corral. I was just like, I don't like the way it looks. We'll see how it goes here. So that one was certainly one that pops up to me when I look at it. Other ones,
Tannehill 15.
I'm okay with Tannehill at 15 from last year. I am. It's again, he got injured, right?
You did.
You see how, they're a much better football team when he's out there playing. So I don't know. I guess if I was going to self-scout myself,
Carson Wentz at 19
was too high, certainly. I think I played into the hype of just the year before too much. Zach Wilson at 22. I'm certainly going to take a beating on that. But the way the 2022 season ended and the way he played, I thought, he looked like he was in that realm and ready to take another jump. But obviously fell off, and he will fall off in a major way that way. So I guess that those are the ones that I look at more than anything. I don't know, Ahmed. It's hard for me to reassess or look back to.
It's hard to remember where we were at that time.
Yeah, with your thought and where you were. Right.
That's the bad thing about predictions too, and I've heard a couple people say this, is that when you're right, they almost seem obvious, right? It's like because a lot has happened and we've seen it now. It's just like Josh Allen, right?
Right.
It's like everyone's like, okay, although maybe it's trending in the other way now. I feel like there's more hate now coming towards Josh Allen, but for a while there, and last year when they were in the playoffs with Patrick Mahomes, and then you had Josh Allen number 1, there are a lot of people who's like, I can see that over Patrick Mahomes, which a year before would have been crazy.
Right.
But when you made that statement that he was going to be awesome, it was at a time when no one believed you, and now it seems like, of course, yeah, he's top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, top 5 quarterback. And now, well, listen, you're right. He's being challenged now by people thinking, oh, did Herbert pass him? Did Joe Burrow pass him? And of course, everybody expected the Bills before the season last year to be in the Super Bowl, and they didn't get there. People just want to blame Josh Allen. We know there's more issues to that. But yeah, it's a fun exercise. It really is. And like I said, I'm going to continue to sell it a little bit more this year as I go through it, and I'm getting there. I'm not totally finalized yet. I feel pretty good about like my top 20. I'm pretty good in that department there. Like I said, the moving parts between 21 and 40 are different this year with some of the young guys, unproven guys, whatever else, make things interesting. But, yeah, it's going to be a little bit more, and I'm going to continue to frame it as that of, where it stands right now at this moment and not be too much into projection, because I think that's where I get over by the people who don't really listen to the context.
Sure. Or listen to the pod, because I think you're right. You're
right.
right. A lot of people think it's a career achievement list, or
exactly
it's not
right.
that. Nothing with contracts or anything like that. All right, so we will start this on Monday, and we are starting from the bottom. And now we're here.
Started at the bottom,
top.
now we're here.
And we're going to go to the top,
Yeah.
Unlike the draft rankings where we went top to bottom, we're going to go bottom to top.
Bottom
so 40 through 35
I think
or whatever.
We're going to do some tiers here, too.
We're going to do tiers this year for the first time ever.
Yep.
Introducing that.
Right.
And when we do have these discussions on the quarterbacks, too, it'll be more than just where they are in this ranking. It'll also be a bigger discussion of their team and what's around them and maybe what's changed. And so it'll be a holistic discussion on each quarterback.
Yeah, all right. We'll talk about this is where they are right now, but this is, we'll just dissect the team and how they fit into that team. And, yes, what's the potential for this player this year with some of the new pieces or coaches that are around him.
Yep. To further celebrate episode number 500 now, we transition to Simms 500 Trivia. So this is for you and me. Now, you have a photographic memory in the NFL.
I'm nervous, though, because I'm supposed to be really good at these ones. And I just saw the first one, and I'm like, uh-oh.
And I've already said I'm terrible, so I've only upside. You have only downside. So here we go. Who are the 4 quarterbacks with 500 or more career passing touchdowns? Oof.
Okay. So we know, right? And we're doing this together. This isn't just me.
Together,
Brady, Manning, and Breeze.
Okay.
Right off the bat.
Correct. And then
hold on here.
Brady, 649.
Right.
Breeze second, 571. And then
Manning at what, 560 something? I feel like
Pete is not revealed
somewhere
it yet.
there.
539.
Okay. Hold on a second here. Who the hell are we missing here? Hold on a second.
I mean, did Dan Marino play?
No, Dan
enough?
Marino did not get to 500. Right. He did not get to 500. Wait, hold on a second. No, Dan Marino did not get to 500. He's up in the 400
Okay,
area.
sorry to even throw that name at you there. I feel like I threw it
No,
off.
no,
John
you're
Elway.
not. Nope, not enough either.
Yes.
It's nobody from that era.
It's a more recent.
I think it is. And Rodgers isn't at
Rodgers
500
is not
yet.
Okay.
I'm going to go Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. It is no. Pete is mad. Brett Favre.
It's Favre.
We've erased him from our
Damn.
memory because of the legal proceedings off the field. So I feel like that was appropriate. Big Show, one of our researchers, is shaking his head up there. Maybe he can stick around and help us.
Damn,
with the
Favre.
rest
I
of
should
the
have known
trivia.
that one. I don't know why. I didn't know. I really think he is erased out of my brain right now.
Yeah.
Because literally, like,
Canceled.
there's been a few shows lately where he was going to be brought up, and we were like, let's not go down the Brett Favre subject right now. It's a little dicey.
Yeah.
And I've been like, I think I have wiped him off my brain a little bit.
Let's wait for a jury of his peers to make their verdict.
I can't believe that. Rodgers is what, mid 400s maybe, 450, somewhere in that range, right? I just wasn't sure. There was somebody else that was in my brain here just from recent play where I was like, wait, did they get there already?
Matt Ryan?
Yeah, Matt Ryan. I thought it was like, wait, is Matt Ryan
You look
sneaky?
at Matt Ryan's numbers, he's probably like his
It's
numbers
up there and everything.
like Hall of
It's
Famer.
top 10 of all
I know.
things.
I know.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it,
Yeah.
but it probably is.
Right.
Trivia number 2. And this is good. The homies can play along too. 3 of these 4 founding AFL teams have 500 or more all-time regular season wins. Which 3? So here's the 4 options. Chiefs, Broncos, Patriots, Raiders. And 3 have 500 or more wins. So Patriots got to, right?
Patriots
Although they were bad for a long time.
For a long time, but they had the 80s where they're good. I'm going to say the Patriots, yes. Okay.
So Patriots, correct.
That's correct.
That is correct.
The Raiders are yes as well.
Raiders are yes as well. Pete?
I'm going to say yes with the way they played in the 70s and
No.
80s. They're at 497.
You roped me into that. Do I also lose, Pete, or just because Chris? I can keep going. All right, I think the Broncos then have and the Chiefs. Yeah.
I
Raiders.
thought the Raiders, so they're at 497.
And the Broncos are right at 500.
500. Wow,
The
that's
Chiefs
amazing.
At 521.
So the Patriots made a huge comeback in the last 20 years in this department.
It's huge. All right, 3 of these 5 kickers have 500 or more career-made field goals. Which 3? You got Adam Vinatieri, Gary Anderson, Jason Hanson, oh my guy, in Detroit, John Carney, Morton Anderson. Oh, I love all those kickers. Those are all great names.
I'm going to say Vinatieri.
Okay, hold on. Slow down.
Okay.
Don't pull me down into your...
We know Vinatieri.
We know Vinatieri, correct. Morton Anderson, for sure.
I would
right?
think so. I'm with you.
So
I would think so.
Vinatieri's got 599. Morton Anderson, 565. Okay,
now,
good.
what do you want to do here? What do you think? What do you think? I want to go to Gary Anderson.
I do too.
Right?
Was he Falcons and Vikings?
Vikings,
Okay.
right. Yes, he was. Yes.
Okay. I feel like yes.
Yes. Good job.
538. So my guy Jason Hanson, 495.
495.
He needs to
man.
come out of retirement.
Jeez, just missed.
John Carney, 478. All right, 2 more trivia questions. We've gotten 2 of them so far. Pete, what happens if we get 4 or 5? Is there any prize? We get swag.
Oh, yeah,
it'll
right,
be in the
good,
mail.
sure, right.
Number 4. Which of these 6 franchises has 500 or more regular season losses, but an all-time winning record? Wow, that's...
Wow. So they have to be around for a long time, right?
Which one of these
just
6?
one of these 6.
Which one of these 6?
So we got to be a...
So it's Browns, Cardinals, Commanders, Eagles, Jets, and Lions. They all have 500 or more regular season losses, but only one has a winning record. So the Lions are out. I mean, there's no way the Lions have a winning. Get rid of them.
I wouldn't think so.
Get them out of there. Yeah, they're 452 winning percentage. Yeah, that's
The
not even
Jets are
close.
out too.
Jets are out too. Yep, I'm willing to throw the Jets out.
Yep.
440 winning percentage, even worse than the Lions. That's terrible.
So
I would throw.
I'm going to throw the Eagles. Oh, wait, hold on. Don't
Bra-
do that yet. Don't do that yet. Don't do that. I'm going to do
Eagles-
the Cardinals. Let's throw the Cardinals
Yeah,
out next.
Cardinals got to get out of there.
Right?
Cardinals is correct. Their winning percentage was 424. Wow, worse so far.
So now we're getting into teams that have been there for a long time, like the Cardinals were too, don't get me wrong, but also have had stretches of success.
My gut's telling me it's the Washington Incarnations football team.
You
Commanders.
think it's the Commanders? So wait, so your guess your guess is going to be the Commanders?
Yeah, they were so good for so long.
Okay, it's not going to be my guess.
Okay.
Ahmed is
I am
incorrect.
Oh, they were 498.
498.
If they had 5 more wins, they would have been 500, and I would have been right. Okay, so Browns and Eagles.
I'm gonna go Eagles. I'm gonna say the Eagles. I don't know what.
Incorrect.
It is the Browns?
It is the Browns.
Damn it!
Eagles winning percentage 493, so at least my guess was better than yours with Washington. And the Browns are at 509.
I honestly thought I was like, this is a curveball, so I'm gonna go Eagles. I
know.
didn't.
The Browns
I didn't
were
buy
good
it.
though. My favorite quarterback growing
I
up, you know
know.
who it was? Bernie Kosar. I love that guy.
I mean, yeah, 80s Browns.
Yeah.
You know, of course, 60s and 50s Browns were amazing.
It's amazing. Like, Jim Brown.
Yeah.
Jim Brown.
Yeah.
It is amazing. They've been so bad for so long. That just shows you how good they were back
They
in the
were
day.
dominant. I mean, they were the team that was going to win the championship. I mean, they were the Patriots of the late 50s and early 60s, I should say, nonetheless, where everybody was trying to, slow that group down and Jim Brown and how do you tackle them and all of that.
Although we did take
Damn
liberties.
it, I'm mad I got
we
that
did
one
take
wrong.
liberties here, right? Because it's like, which Browns are we talking about? The new Browns or the old Browns, right? I mean, it's just like
deep thoughts by Ahmed Fareed.
I'm just saying. They did move a little bit. All right, last one.
Yeah.
5 of these 7 active quarterbacks have thrown for 500 or more passing yards in a game. Which 5? So here are the 7 quarterbacks. 5 have got games of 500. Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Derek Carr, Jared Goff, Joe Burrow, Matt Stafford, and Patrick Mahomes.
Stafford for sure.
Yeah. I think I'm remembering, I feel like Derek Carr had one of those games.
I believe so too. I'm going to say Derek Carr too. I'm going to go with you.
So 2 for 2 so far. Stafford threw for 520 in a game in 2011 versus the Packers.
Right.
And the final game of that season, it was the Matt Flynn game.
Yep.
And then Derek Carr in 2016 versus the Bucs threw for 513.
Right. I believe Dak Prescott has a game. Correct.
All right,
okay.
that is good. 502 in 2020 versus Cleveland.
Okay.
All right, now it gets tough.
Now it gets close. I do want to think. I think we had a Joe Burrow.
I think you're right.
But like 2 years ago.
I think you're right.
I think we. Right.
It was 2021 versus the Ravens, 525.
Okay.
So now we just have one more, and I think it's Aaron Rodgers,
yeah.
It's Jared Goff, and it's Patrick Mahomes. I feel like Jared Goff had a 500-yard game.
Don't answer this yet, or don't say it yet, Pete. But yeah, let's flesh this out. There's a part I want to go down that road with you a little bit, but I'm trying.
Yeah.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers has ever had a 500-yard passing game.
Agreed.
He kind of was famous forever for being like 330 every game, 330 a game, and then it was like a 400 game.
You're right. 480 is his career high.
Okay, and then
So it's Goff and Mahomes, two greatest quarterbacks in the NFL.
I think the highest Mahomes ever threw for in a game was the game we had on Sunday Night Football, where me and you were doing the Peacock show after against the
400 something,
467 against the Titans.
I think you're right.
Right, so Goff would be the 500, and it might have been against Mahomes. No, it wasn't. Oh, it was okay, cool. So it was Goff versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I remember that game. 517. He threw a few interceptions in the game, maybe 3 or 4 interceptions. But I remember in that game where I think that's one of the best games I ever saw Jared Goff play. And I remember some grading companies and everything going, "That's crazy, you're stupid." And I want, and it was. Yeah. It was more about the guy made plays and throws and did things to get his team over the edge. But yeah, that I thought it might have been the Jared Goff versus Patrick Mahomes game, right? Remember that 52-45 game? There was a part of me thought that maybe it was that game.
Yeah.
But yep. All right. So we got that one. Good job. Good group think right there.
That was we got 3 of the 5, I think. So well done to me riding your coattails on the history and the trivia, although I believe I contributed there too. All right, let's finish off with some Ask Me Anything questions. We'll get to a few of these, and of course, we will sprinkle these throughout the quarterback ranking discussion.
Oh, of course, yeah. We're not going to stop talking about the rest of the NFL.
So let's go to Cowboys. Nick DePanfilis. Got that perfectly.
Sure you did.
What else does Dallas need to do to narrow the gap between the Eagles and 49ers? Love your show.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that.
Dallas between the Eagles and 49ers.
Well, I think the thing that bothered me about them at all last year, I mean, we know they were really good, and they were one of the best teams in football, but I think that the size of their defensive line was a little bit of an issue when they had to play teams like the 49ers or the Eagles. They had to commit so much to stopping people because, they're a smaller defense, is a little more predicated on speed and chaos like we talk all the time. And, they played teams like the Eagles, the 49ers, who didn't have like a marquee passing game, but they had to go all in to stop, those elements against those type of football teams. They weren't big enough to where maybe our man Mozzie Smith, Maisie, right? Sorry,
Mozzie.
Comes
it
in
is
there.
Mozzie.
I don't know why the maize blue and Mozzie and everything gets me every time. But his addition adds something there. So I think that's probably the one area that jumps out to me the most as compared to those other football teams. And again, this is a real good O-line they got too, but not on the level of the Eagles, of course, and I would certainly take the 49ers in front of it as well. So those are 2 areas, again, right up front where I'd go, they could help to bolster those 2 areas a little bit more.
This is a team where the schedule could be very interesting, and you talk about this every year about getting out to a good start or not.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much pressure on Dak Prescott coming into this year that a 3-1 start or a 4-0 start would go a long way towards easing some of those concerns.
I think there's just pressure, along the whole organization, right? And definitely, a lot of pressure on Dak Prescott this year. Yeah, he didn't play well last year. He's, being paid big money, and he did not play like one of the marquee quarterbacks in football, and certainly didn't end the year that way with the performance that, on the heels of a great performance against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a wild card game, then kind of laid an egg in the divisional game against the 49ers. But, that would be the area. Again, the defensive line. And then, of course, the other thing I do look at is just the running game with Tony Pollard not being back 100% healthy right away to start the year. I think that could affect their football team as well.
Stay in the NFC East. Got a Giants question about their offensive line.
Yeah.
Billy Wagner 0 says, how comparable are Evan Neal's struggles to Andrew Thomas? And do you believe with Bobby Johnson coaching him, he will become a capable tackle next season?
Definitely. No doubt about it. I think all the things that I would worry about, like physically, or the things that there's no physical concerns I have. I didn't look at it last year and go, oh, he's weak, or oh, his feet are too slow, right? It wasn't about that. I think it was more about, again, it's not an easy adjustment. AKA, look at the other tackle on the other side of the line where it wasn't great the first year and a half, 2 years in Andrew Thomas, and now he's considered one of the best left tackles in football. It's one of those, it's rare where tackles just come into the league and dominate, right? We talk about quarterbacks, the adjustment to the league. We talk about, I know we hit on tight ends a little bit when we were doing the top 5 rankings of that with the draft, right? Because it's a big adjustment from college tight end to NFL tight end.
Right.
There's probably another position we probably don't put enough emphasis on the drastic change, where in college, as we talked, is limited playbook, right? And it's limited pass protections that we talk about all the time. Now they get here and they go, whoa. Like in college, even in a place like Alabama, we had like 4 or 5 run plays. Now we got 25 run plays. And we had like 2 protections at Alabama, right? With a few nuances to max protect or whatever. Now we have like 7 different pass protections, right? And then there's different rules within them. And then now, too, I'm not necessarily on the best team to where we can dictate things all the time and make things easier. And also, I'm on a team now, or I'm playing a position now, too, where it's a whole different animal coming at me on a weekly basis. I mean, SEC linemen, whatever, you're getting pros who are technicians, who are freaky physically,
right.
And then you're getting different varieties of guys within the same game, let alone just like, oh, I'm in the SEC, I'm going to see this defensive end for 55 out of the 70 snaps, right? I mean, in the NFL, it's always changing. Whoa, this guy's on that side, this guy's here. Oh, they moved the D tackle out over me now. Oh, no, now it's the backup to where you can play right tackle and you can go, we drop back to pass 40 times, and I protected against 8 different guys during the day, right? So I think those are adjustments that kind of get swept under the rug. I like his physical ability, and I expect him to be a lot more comfortable and make a real big jump this year.
He was one of the best, if not the best, pass blocking offensive lineman you saw in college when you scouted the tape last year.
Definitely. It's what I loved about him.
His is a little longer.
His was, let's not lean on people. Let's not just think if I hit him with my arms that you win the play, right?
Yeah.
No, that guy's still coming here in the NFL. It's not over, right? Let's be a little quicker to identify, wait, the defensive end came to my inside shoulder. Oh, wait, they might be stunting the D tackle. I might have to switch this off with the guard. It's things like that he's got to improve, and I have no doubt he will.
Good question, though. Homies are smart.
Yeah.
They know how important the offensive line is. And this question from FC is about the O-line. He says, who has improved their O-line the most over the draft and free agency? So while you were giving that last answer, I was looking up a few things. Of course, Orlando Brown goes over to Cincinnati. Yeah. The Bengals from the Chiefs.
Good job by looking this up, because this is one where I need some time. I need to look some things up.
Mike
here.
McGlinchey goes over from the 49ers to the Broncos. Jawan Taylor went to the Chiefs, so they replaced Orlando Brown with that.
Right.
Caleb McGarry stays with Atlanta.
He stays in Atlanta, right? They re-signed Lindstrom there in Atlanta, right? I think if there's one that I would look at to make the most drastic changes to this point, Ahmed, all right, I think I would probably go, and this is off the top of my head, and you can think of some more too. The Denver Broncos.
For sure.
Yeah, for what you just said there. First off, they overpaid for Mike McGlinchey, but they need a right tackle, so they didn't care. They're okay, so what? We got to pay an extra $1 million or $2 million a year to get the guy to make this thing work the right way.
Got Ben Powers, from over in the Ravens.
Exactly right? So they got Ben Powers to go along with that. And then I'm missing somebody else I want to say that they got in free agency. Well, I thought there was one other offensive lineman that I thought they got. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought those were 2 certainly significant moves. I mean, I guess that was it. They drafted Forsyth, the center from Oregon, in round 7. But, yeah, I don't know why. I felt like there was one other addition to that offensive line that I can't recall right now.
The draft, some of the teams that took of course, Paris Johnson went early. He was the first offensive lineman off the board to the Cardinals, and then the Bears got Darnell Wright. They were trying to beef up their offensive line. Did a good job of that.
I saw a comment there yesterday from the Bears O-line coach talking about, like, Darnell Wright, he's very comfortable and NFL ready. So the game's already moving slowly for him, and you kind of saw that on film, too, when you watched him.
Titans got Peter Skoronski from Northwestern in the first round, and then the Steelers, the first round offensive tackle from Georgia, Broderick Jones.
Yeah, right.
In the draft,
some big adjustments there. I know. I don't know. Anybody where else we're missing off the top of my head there that made, big adjustments to their O line.
Steelers again. I mean, they had the draft, and then Seumalo from the Eagles.
That's a pretty big adjustment. You're right. You're right about that. You're right about that. I think that there's one marquee move I would look at to go. If just one move, I would go with what we saw in Cincinnati, Orlando Brown.
Yeah,
I just think that changes the other 4 guys on their O-line altogether. One less spot to worry about. Now we can use all these other guys to figure out who's our best 4 remaining other than Orlando Brown. I think they got something working there in Cincinnati.
Talked about a couple of those offensive linemen the Steelers got. Maybe that helps Najee Harris. And Cower Power asks you, do you think the Steelers are being overlooked? I know it's a tough conference and division, but I like what they have done this offseason, and I am biased. So thank you, Cower Power, just admitting it, if your handle did not do that already, for where your biases lie.
Well, yeah, they always scare me. I don't know if I want to use the word like overlooked, right? I don't know if I want to go there, but I think
9-8 last year.
Yeah, right. Like this is. I don't put them in the cream of the crop in the AFC. I don't. But between that coaching staff, the improvements to the O-line, the way they know how to manage the football game, the defense still being creative and making plays, and I would imagine that was a down year for them. They're going to be a little chippier this year. Like, again, I don't think I'm going to be picking the Steelers to make the playoffs. I don't think so. But they're one of those teams that I, would circle and go, man, they scare me because they get off to a good start and get a little mojo going. They'll figure out how to play that's just right for them, and they'll make it work. But, yeah, I can't clearly look at them right now at this point and just go, oh, yeah, that's one of the most talented teams in the AFC as we sit here.
So this is funny. We go from the Steelers to the Chargers. We go from one team that finished 9-8. You're like, how did they finish 9-8? They were not that good.
Right.
To the Chargers, who were 10-7, be like, dang, they got a team of studs. How are they only 10-7? I do know they had some injuries last year.
A ton of injuries.
And they couldn't stop the run. Jacob Morris says, as a Chargers fan, I know we have a terrible run defense, but I don't have enough football knowledge to understand why. Is Dan Henley, that linebacker who was number 1 in the Chris Simms ranking at linebacker, going to help at all, or are we still going to struggle to stop the run?
I would think you're going to be improved in that area. I do. One, you got Eric Kendricks to go there at middle linebacker. That's going to help out your football team in a big way, right? So that's exciting. I think you get a guy like Sebastian Joseph Day, who's another year removed from being, the Super Bowl year. He hurt his knee really bad when he was with the Rams. Last year was his first year back as far as being healthy in that department, right? They got Morgan Fox, added him to the defensive line, right? So I would expect it to be better this year. I would. And then having all those pieces, it's Khalil Mack's second year.
Yep.
It's going to be, Kenneth Murray another year in the system and feeling better. Kendricks is a bump up for sure. Yes, I'd be shocked if they're not better in that department. Would I have liked to have seen them have maybe one more big person in the middle of their defense? Yes. I can't lie. I definitely would. But this is one of those teams where I expect a drastic change as far as where they were ranked last year defensively and where they end up this year. J.C. Jackson's health, of course, is imperative. Joey Bosa's health is imperative. I mean, they were definitely killed by the injury bug last year.
So, speaking of massive changes and drastic changes, Rev Memphis says this about the NFL playoff format. Is the current NFL playoff system the right way going forward? Should it be the top 8 teams advance and you play both home and away? It would be the end of divisions and 2 conferences. So, wait, what is he saying
So
here?
He's just saying top 8 teams? He just wants top 8 teams.
In the in the top. Oh, okay. So, out of the 32 teams, only 8 advance. And it wouldn't be necessarily 4 and 4.
I don't love that. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I understand what we're trying to do there. I get it because, and again, I think this is, it's like almost back to our quarterback ranking thing. We just go, well, they had the best record, so they should the best teams. And I would just want to go, no, there's a lot of years in history where I could show you the 1988 New York Giants went 10-6, and they were in an unbelievable division that had a bunch of 11-5 and 12-4 teams, and they didn't get in the playoffs. And I'd go, they'd kick the shit out of just about everybody in the playoffs except for 3 teams, right? Yeah. So that's where the division to me comes in handy. Right, and the current status or the way it's all set up. It's not perfect, I know. And I know we have years where the division winner's underwhelming and we go, oh, I can't believe they're going to get to host a football game.
There should be a tweak there.
There should be a tweak there, I agree, right? And we kind of came to something last year where it's like if the division winner, who threw out the rule change, like the Chargers, I want to say, if the division winner is like 2 games below 500, they don't get to host the home playoff game, right? So that's a nice tweak there.
Totally.
But I think for the way it is right now, no, I'm more in, first off, I wish they would go back to 2 teams having a bye, the first and second seed.
100%.
Right? And, I know the top 8 teams, seems right.
It's
when
like
you just look at
Champions
it
League
paper.
football. It's making sense to me now. It's like if you're familiar with Champions League football, that's what they do. They play home and away, and they go aggregate score, which determines who advances.
Yes. Well, and Champions League football and how they do it, I mean, isn't there, of course there's more to it, too, the point system and all that. It covers it to where the 8 teams that are in there should be they're the right 8 teams.
Well, they have more than that.
I know they have more than that. You're right. They have way more, right. Yeah. But yes, but they get the right teams in there.
Yeah.
Or either way.
Yeah, they've played their way into that.
I know. So I don't know. And what I would say more than anything at Rev Memphis is it's the most watched thing on TV in the whole world. I don't think we need to tweak it a whole lot. And I think the system we got going right now is pretty damn good.
I agree. Although you disagree with me, I do think you should tweak the other end of it, the other end of the standings, the tanking for the number 1 pick.
Yeah, right.
I think we should figure out a way to get rid of that. Like the fact still that last game between Houston and the Colts, determined a whole bunch of things going forward, and it was better to lose a game. It should never be better to lose a game in the National Football League.
No, but the team that should have lost the game won the game. So that's where you just go, it's hard to tank. It's hard to tank. It's hard to tell Davis Mills not to win the game on 4th and 10.
Right.
He's going, you, I'm on film here, and my next team wants to hire me. I want to throw a touchdown here. And then you get a guy like Lovie Smith who's going, they're going to me over and fire me anyways. I hope we do throw a touchdown and up their draft plans. Yeah. That's where it gets hard. But there is something to be said about what you're saying. I just can't wrap my head around it or get the right structure in my own brain.
How about Patrick Mahomes? Let's talk about that guy.
Right.
Matthew Sibley, given you, Chris Simms, saw that Mahomes was going to be a generational talent in the draft. Why wasn't he at a better college, e.g., Oklahoma, Alabama, A&M, or the Longhorns? So he went to Texas Tech and was on a bad team.
Yeah. I mean, this happens a lot. You go through time. There's a lot of quarterback. Phil Simms, how do you end up at Morehead State, right? Joe Flacco, how do you end up at Delaware?
Chris Simms, Texas. That hasn't been
right. How the hell
football
that
for a
work?
long time. Yeah.
Right. And he went out on a limb there. They go, that's cool. I think, like we talk about with the NFL and everything else, first off, these are growing kids. And sometimes they're not grown to their full potential when they're being recruited and people are trying to get them to come to the big-time school when they're in junior and high school, right? This is where I used to get mad at the University of Texas, and this is where their fall-off began. They were committing kids their junior year, and I was like, why? We're Texas. Make them wait. There's going to be a whole bunch of kids that are going to put on 30 pounds of muscle and become a 10th faster. They're going to be better than the 20 you just committed next year. Right? And that was really the fall of the Mac Brown era. He started 25 commitments, and they had no spots left their senior years, right? Mm-hmm. Right? So there they were locked into guys where it's like, oh, wait, this guy's a better player than the guy we already committed now. Oh, shit. Right? So that was the end of that. So that's what happens here. Growth, and just like anything, sometimes the politics or how good was his team, how much did he throw the ball in college football? What was the level of competition he was going against at that high school in Texas where he was at? So I think all of that plays into it a little bit, right? And it's you just don't get the hype and get it going to where those top schools want you, or he's not going. There's so many things here. Of course, I have deep knowledge of this because of my own life, my brother's life. My brother and dad train all these high school kids. But a guy like Patrick Mahomes, I bet you he wasn't going around to the Elite 11 camp because he was playing baseball and going, no, I'm awesome at third base. I'm not going. Same with Josh Allen. I'm hitting home runs right now. I'm not worried about making a tour and politicizing myself for high school football here. I'm going to be a high school kid, and those all lead to the things we're talking about, as far as the big schools not recruiting him.
His dad wasn't good at making a highlight tape, right? Had some bad plays in there. Who knows what it was?
It's a lot of stuff. Exactly right.
He was a 3-star recruit, but his senior season, he had 4,600 passing yards, 50 touchdowns. He had 948 rushing yards and 15 rush touchdowns.
Yeah.
He was ranked the 12th best dual threat quarterback after those numbers.
So I don't know. I don't know what division that was in Texas, but it could have been just like Texas Tech. It could have been looked at like, oh, they just throw and nobody's really that good there, and it's just stats and how good is he really, right? And it's a little side army and all this. He's unpolished, right? Yeah. I can see all those things going on as far as the recruiting in Mahomes, where it took a guy like Cliff Kingsbury, who played a little quarterback, to go, wait, that's awesome. And I actually have Baker Mayfield here, but I'm going to push him out the door because this guy here's doing freaky things, and Alabama and Oklahoma don't want him, so I'll take him. And that's where you got to give Cliff Kingsbury some credit for sure.
Seahawks or Jets? The debate rages on, at least for KD Raps 5. Says, would you rather have Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson or Devon Witherspoon and Jaxon Smith-Njigba? So the guys from last year with the Jets or the new guys, the new kids on the block over with the Seahawks?
Man, I like them all.
I mean, right?
That's a tough one. So
all of the above.
Here's my my first thought is I like Garrett Wilson better than Jaxon Smith-Njigba. I like Devon Witherspoon more than I like Sauce. But damn, I mean, I like Sauce and Jaxon Smith-Njigba. But all right, so who would you rather? You got one there? You got a lean on that one at all?
Yes. I think I would at this point take Sauce and Garrett.
Yeah.
Because
it's kind of used. First off, I've seen it in the NFL, right?
Yes, and I think there's still some questions with Jaxon Smith-Njigba and that injury
the
and all that stuff.
Speed and all that.
Yeah.
The size of Devon Witherspoon. I think there's more questions. Like Sauce and Garrett are more prototypes. We've seen this work in the NFL, right?
Yes.
And then, of course, we have the rookies of the year, and we're just hoping these other guys are the rookie of the year.
Right.
So we'll see where it goes. I would probably lean Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson. But, man, it hurts me to say that with my man crush on the other side.
How about a debate between the Seahawks and Ravens? Throw that into the mix here.
Ooh.
Patrick Cipher says, which team has a better shot at winning a ring this year, the Seahawks or the Ravens?
Yeah, both teams that I expect to be in that conversation. I think the Seahawks are drastically going to be an improved football team. The Ravens are the team I'd pick there, okay? I would. The Ravens, to me, is, we've hit this. For some reason, it's come up, I feel like, the last few weeks when we've talked about it. Just the Ravens could have won the Super Bowl last year, like we said. The Ravens are one of the few teams last year where I go, oh, no, they can be on the field with the Eagles and be okay. I don't think I would have picked them to win the Super Bowl, but, healthy Lamar Jackson, right? And like I've said this a few times lately, just they were on the 1 yard line, up 7 against the Bengals, going in to go up 14.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it was late in the third quarter, the game, or maybe even early fourth. I mean, it was, so it wasn't like, that Ravens team was damn good.
Yeah, and Mike Tirico made that call, and going back the other way was Sam Hubbard.
Sam Hubbard running him down, right? All right, here,
best.
hey, wait. One other question. I'm going back Columbo style here, right? Because it bothers me when the homies catch me with a question that I'm not prepared. And I don't look at these questions before we go. I try to just, go with the moment and the flow, and I pay attention to football constantly anyways.
Is this that offensive line thing?
You know it.
You know me,
You've been
buddy.
Thinking
about this whole time.
I have. I had it pulled up on a tab, and I was like, wait, that really bothered me that I didn't really get a – so the Broncos were for sure a good one, right?
Yeah.
But as I've sat here a little bit more to do some research, I just want to dive back into that. The Washington Commanders are another team where I'd go that deserve a little credit. Got Nick Gates from the New York Giants, right? So that's big for them. Got an interior lineman. Got Andrew Wiley, the tackle from the Kansas City Chiefs, to help out their football team. Trenton Scott, they add him to the group as well. So that's this one spot where I'd say that jumps out to me. Okay, sorry about that. That was my only Columbo moment of the day.
Well, this is good. This one comes from Connor McGinnis. He goes, if one current NFL player had to replace Chris for one episode, who would Ahmed pick to give the game breakdowns and player insights? And so it would be someone who wouldn't go back 7 questions and ruin my great transitions to the next question. First of all, that would be the first question in the interview. Pete goes, would it be my favorite quarterback of all time, Matthew Stafford? Maybe, but I don't think Matthew is that talkative.
He's not going to open up.
No, he's not going to open up, which no one is as much as you. So I think maybe I shouldn't even go in that direction. So I will go with one of my favorite of all time.
Right.
Just so I could meet him and talk to him for an hour.
Yeah.
Barry Sanders. I would just sit down with Barry. Maybe we do a whole running back segment.
Yeah.
And just break down all the top, 40 running backs.
Yeah, that's what you're going to do. Yeah.
He
wouldn't even do that. He wouldn't open himself up to that criticism.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't. Yeah. Although I think later in life, you see him more in advertisements.
Definitely.
I love Barry Sanders.
How can you not love Barry Sanders?
It would be one episode only.
Who's the quarterback right now, though, that you feel like is like at least somewhat maybe boisterous as I am? Or if they weren't in the playing right now at this moment where you could go, I could take them out of that. And if they were out of the league, I think they'd have a big mouth like Chris and have plenty of opinions and thoughts there.
All right, let me look here. There aren't that many. I'm going through your top 40 from last year, and I'm like going down the list. And you know who it would be? It'd be Baker Mayfield, probably.
That's a good one. I did not think of him.
He wouldn't care.
I can see. You're right. It's a good one.
Baker wouldn't care.
Definitely. You're right.
I don't know if I could trust what he's saying as much. He might just be trying to scorch earth. I feel like Baker's a little bit more of that.
Yeah, right.
But I think Baker wouldn't mind speaking on what is on his mind.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you there. I don't. That's a good one. I know. I don't know who would it be. That might be the one though. It's got to be. And most of these guys are sports junkies. That happens. I thought of Mahomes for a second just because Mahomes watches everything and comments on everything on social media. So he'll at least have thoughts and opinions for you.
Yes.
But he might not say anything as harsh as Baker would me.
Right. I agree with that.
Yeah.
All right, let's end with this. Oh, we have a pizza question too that we can end with. So let's get that one in, just so if there's anyone in Bergen County, New Jersey.
Okay, what up, Jimmy D? Or Jimmy Die?
Jim Die.
Jim Die? He wrote D-I-E-E. You died twice in Jersey. That's speaking. You go to Jersey, you die twice, okay?
Yeah.
That's how tough we are in Jersey.
So maybe don't go to this pizzeria. Best pizzeria in Bergen County, New Jersey.
Yeah. Well, we take a lot of pride in North Jersey, pizza. New York, New Jersey pizza. I think is the best in the country, and I think especially Italian food in general, right? Like if you ask my dad, the best Italian restaurant he's ever been to, he's been to Rome multiple times. He's going to tell you it's a place in North Jersey, right?
Yeah, okay.
Right? That he loves Arturo's. That's our restaurant. It's not a pizza place. Best pizzeria in Bergen County, New Jersey. I'm going with Kinchley's in Ramsey. Go ahead, look it up. Kinchley, Kinch. L-E-Y? I think it's an L-E-Y. It might be just an L-Y, but it should pop up in Ramsey, New Jersey. It's thin crust, right?
That's big.
It's perfection. It's one of those where it's so good, it's awesome. There was a disgruntled something that happened, and one of the people in the kitchen went to another place and tried to start their own kind of thing.
They
not
took
too
the
far.
recipe. They took the
it's
recipe.
Not exactly the same. There's a place called Nellie's in Waldwick.
Okay.
That also has very similar pizza, but it's not quite as good as Kinchley's. So Kinchley's is my the Simms family go-to spot in Jersey.
Their website says New Jersey's #1 thin crust pizza.
It's legit. I promise you will not be disappointed. If you are anywhere in northern New Jersey, close to the New Jersey-New York border, right? 287 Garden State Parkway up there. It's not far from that area. You could be there in a moment's time.
Driving from here, how long is it?
Driving from here, it's good. Actually, for here, it's not the worst. In Connecticut, you go over the Tappan Zee.
Yeah.
You'd probably be there in 30 minutes. Probably.
No way.
No traffic.
Really? From here?
Yeah. My parents only lived 35 miles from here.
Okay.
So it's not a long haul. You know how everything's so tightly packed up here in the Northeast.
As we wrap up episode number 500, wow, still can't believe we've done 500 of these. We asked the homies, you guys out there, what do you think we'll be talking about 500 episodes from now? So episode 1000, Ben Standing says whether Tom Brady will play for the Dolphins.
I like it. Good. It'll still be alive. It'll still be alive.
Yeah,
right?
He's only 49. Matt Bostock says, who is the starting quarterback for the 49ers?
That's true.
Kyle
right?
just shuffling through guys.
They've been to 4 Super Bowls, but they still don't know who their quarterback is.
Random Pats fan says how Kellen Mond's career is following the path of Geno Smith. Oh, it could, who knows?
I love it.
It could happen. Matthew Sepp Fryer. Ooh, I would love this one. Return of barefoot kickers.
Ooh.
That would be great.
That would be great.
That would
I
be
don't
awesome.
know. There's got to be a less of a power element, right? With no shoe on, though. I mean,
why did those people do that?
I don't. I guess they felt like they had control over it better. But yeah, when I watch back old games and see that, I go, you guys look ridiculous. You're walking around like that. Ridiculous. Why are you kicking? My dad, they won a damn Super Bowl because George Karlis is missing field goals, barefoot kicker for the Broncos. I mean, he shanked 2 early on in the football game when they kind of had the momentum.
Cold weather would be a nightmare.
Oh, nightmare.
Put a shoe on.
Yeah.
And finally, the final word goes to Wisco Lion BC. He says, we'll be talking about how the Lions become the dominant franchise in the NFL. Well, that one's almost guaranteed to actually
Damn,
happen.
what happened to the all 31 teams went extinct? Is that how that happened? There's no way that happens.
Yeah, they all moved to Germany and then couldn't adjust with the time difference.
With Dear Oberobachter. There you go, back there to Germany.
Exactly. All right. Well, that was fun.
That was good.
We set the table. You're right. That was a relaxed. We had nothing to get through.
Nothing.
No
we just
notes
talked,
to get to.
You and me back and forth, 2 guys talking about football. That's what we did today.
Yep.
We'll be back into our normal mold on Monday.
No more fun.
No more fun. Ahmed grilling me. Why did you put this guy here?
Exactly.
This guy says you're an idiot. Welcome to the Chris Simms quarterback rankings. That's right, everybody. I'm going to be working on that all weekend. You know what's coming, right? So send in your questions. We're still going to hit on all NFL news. Any questions you want asked about certain specific football teams, throw them in there. I'll look at it, the questions before I get on air, so I don't have to go back and look at it again, right, for the Denver Broncos offensive line and that type of stuff. But everybody enjoy the weekend, all right? Be good, be safe out there. The weather's getting good. I know I've been enjoying it. I got a little tan right now, not as tan as you. I'm getting, you got tan out there.
Maybe outdoors all summer now.
Yeah, well, we all are, hopefully. Yeah. But everybody be good. Hit us up. We'll see you Monday. Clap it up. Yo, thanks for watching, homies. It's the off season, but you know there's no off season for us here at Unbuttoned. Me, Ahmed Fareed, we're going to hit all the stories. So hit subscribe for us, okay? We got a ton coming up. My draft prospect rankings, my Simms top 40 quarterback countdown, and videos of me and NFL QBs playing catch and talking about their development and mechanics. Again, thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out, homies. See you soon.